What is up, you guys? Matt McKeever here, and I'm here with
Jeff Wybo.
And so we're standing in front of Jeff's very first property.
This one right here. And I still own it to this day.
So kind of walk through for us, Jeff, why you decided to buy this one, what it is, all that great stuff.
It was back in 2012, okay, so I'm dating myself now.
6 years.
And I didn't have a Matt McKeever YouTube channel to learn anything from, so it was me and a few other buddies that were into real estate at the time, but nothing like the network that you guys have now on this channel, so take advantage of that. I had got back, some of you guys know this, I was deployed to Afghanistan. I got back in end of February, so now we're getting into like March. I needed a place to live. No longer did I want to be like hanging out at mom and dad's house. And then I started listening to some good friends and they were like, okay, well you should buy a place where you can rent it out and stuff like that. I'm like, interesting, this is cool. Like, all right, so I didn't know anything about it. You guys probably know way more than me when I started. I looked at one other one actually on cheap side, and I remember kind of like ducking under some stuff. I'm like, yeah, I could live here. This is looking okay. It was this one, and they were taking 1 day of showing on a Friday. I had to fly to Thunder Bay that weekend. My grandma unfortunately passed away, and I didn't get a chance to view this property. But then as we were coming home, they shifted offers to Monday for some reason back then, right? So then I got to view it on Monday. I got my buddy Dean, who you've seen on my channel the one time on the Cash Flow to Go show.
Yeah.
I got Dean to run through here, and he's like, yeah, it's a property. Like, I was like, oh, okay, do you think it's gonna be good? Like, he's like, yes, it's brick, it's got light switches, like, it's purpose built, like, there's nothing that he could see that was going to go wrong in it. And now knowing what we know, ridiculous. Like you'd be so worried about that. So don't be so afraid when you're newer. Got the offer in. So it was priced at $425 back then, okay? And I had a lot of money from the Army, and I didn't even know what the markets were like, really. I was just listening to a few key players. My buddy Sean out west, he crunched the numbers for me, and he's like, he knew the student rents, because we're kind of in a student area here.
Yeah.
Like the downtown is like right there. So like I love this location because I wanted to live here. Coming home from Afghanistan, I wanted that downtown. I wanted to go to Barney's this summer. I wanted to do all that stuff. So this was a great location, I thought. So what we got here, we got a 2-bedroom in the basement. We have a 3-bed and a 3-bed. So I was like, perfect, I don't need to live in a 3-bed. I'll just live in the 2-bed. 3 people living in here and 3 upstairs. The rents at the time were about $4.25. Per bedroom, okay? It was owner occupied on the middle actually. This tenant was leaving, so I was like, perfect, I'll just move into there. 3 more girls living upstairs at $4.25, okay?
Okay.
Sean crunches all the numbers. It looks like it cash flows, which is all I cared about. That 1% rule, I didn't really know what that was back then. My agent at the time, because I was not a real estate agent, said that there's 6 other offers, and so I was like the 7th offer, and it was $425, and however we did it, the cash flow kind of still worked, and I did 17,000 over. My agent at the time, he said, wow, you're very calm doing this offer. And I'm like, well, I'm not being shot at. So, because I was fresh back from the war, and I was like, well, this is real estate, I shouldn't be stressed over the offer scenario. Whereas like, how many guys we know get all like stressed over it, right?
People really psych themselves out. Yeah,
so I was just like, okay, you get it, like whatever. You sit around and wait. And then the phone rings, right?
Yeah.
And then the realtor was, well, when he was leaving my house, he said, you're not gonna get this one, even at 17 over. He said, you're not gonna get this, but you did a really good job. I'm really proud of you. And then he calls me and he's like, can you close on May the 7th? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else. Okay, I'll call you back. And then he calls me back and he's like, you got it. And I'm like, I hang up the phone and my parents are there and I'm like, I got it. And they're like, whoa! And I'm calm. And I'm like, I just bought a property. And then I pretty much waited around to May the 7th, and then I got the keys and then showed up here. The whole street was ripped up by the time I got the keys. All of a sudden the city decided to do the sewers.
And then so you ended up moving in.
So I moved into the basement.
And then you had to rent out the main floor?
So the main floor was vacant for that summer. And I got some advice like, oh, you need to have a property management company to rent it out for you. I was too nervous back then to do my own showings or know how to do the ads or stuff like that. So I hired a company to do it. For September 1st, they got people in. But an interesting story for the upper, here's what I thought. I got the lease and I walked up there and I remember Dean was about in the middle and I went to the top and I knocked on the door. I was gonna be like, I'm the new landlord, right? And I said, oh, hi, I'm the new landlord. Where is Sabrina? She's like, Sabrina lives in Vancouver. And I'm like, okay. Where is Sally? And then she's like, Sally lives in Halifax. And I'm like, okay. I'm Amanda and Hannah, and we live here, and we pay $425 each, and that's it. And the other landlord said it was fine. So like, how many times, like even in your landlording career, like
Absolutely.
shit happens, right? And
yeah, subleases, or like someone sloppy with their paperwork.
well, and I'm like, what? We just went to the lawyers. How can they do this to
Signed
me?
legal documents.
Legal documents. Anyways, they were leaving at the end of the summer. That's the good part about student rentals. They leave.
High turnover, yeah.
High turnover, right? So I ended up like hanging out with them all summer and kind of partying with them. The main floor was like vacant, so it was nice and quiet, and I just lived in the basement. And I remember getting in there and plugging my BlackBerry into the wall, into like the charger, and sitting on the ground being like, oh, I just bought this. And like, I didn't have knives and forks, I didn't have a bed, I didn't have a TV, I didn't have anything.
Do you mind kind of fast forward now? So 6 years later, what does it rent for?
So now I have it rented at 2 beds, $600 a room right now. So $1,200 for that, $546 a bedroom. So it was $425, now it's $546.
Yeah.
So up to that much.
Like we're talking like probably 30%. And then it sounds like the basement, you almost bumped it by like almost 50%.
I kind of like, you know, you start learning a bit. It's like, 2 bedrooms are pretty valuable.
Yeah.
And I always curse myself with the basement because I'm like, so that's $1,200 right now. And I get it rented in like 24 hours. I'm like, damn it, should have went for more.
And then so recently you got reappraised. Do you mind sharing?
Sure. So I guess I bought it at $441. And it reappraised at $515 recently. Yeah, I took home some $40,000 check or something like that. So
yeah,
it's relatively was a wash right now. I BRRRR'd it without knowing.
Yeah,
it took many years later, but yeah.
And then so, do you see this? Will you own this property forever?
I always thought, like, and we were always asked this on the Cash Flow to Go show, like, what's your exit strategies? What's your plans? Like, when I bought this, yes. Will something change in the next 5 years? Potentially, I don't know. You're even dabbling with selling, like the velocity of your money.
Yeah,
it gets you really kind of interesting in that. Like, but the Rain Canada approach, I was just gonna have this forever because at the end of the, when the mortgage is paid off, it's like, well, that's my pension. $5,000 is coming in every month. That's pretty cool. Because originally I wanted to buy this. I was big into Tim Ferriss. Cash flow is all I wanted. And I just thought if I could get more, the more cash flow, I wouldn't have to work.
That's awesome. So Jeff's just another example of a real person that just got into real estate. You didn't know everything when you jumped in. You just knew that it was going to cash flow.
Yes, that's all I knew.
The nice thing is, as long as you're cash flowing, you can survive a lot of turbulence.
Yeah.
As long as you're positive with your cash flow. So in the next episode, we're going to dive into exactly what Jeff's lifestyle looked like when he was living in this. It's going to be way different than what a lot of you guys are familiar with Jeff today. I think it's going to be an awesome story. You're not going to want to miss it. And if you're not subbed to Jeff on YouTube, jump over. We're going to throw it up at the end of this video. Jump over to his channel, hit the subscribe button, as well as check out recently. He just released a bunch of new episodes. Your trip to
my vlog. From now on, you're going to see way more vlogs of our adventures as well. So.
And just way more in general.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying watching these videos, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button to my channel if you're new here. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.
Bye.